It was the morning of September 10th, 2001, and Dr. Sneha Philip, a 31-year-old Indian-American physician living in New York City, was off from work and planned to run errands. She left her apartment in Lower Manhattan around noon, and from that point on, her life dissolved into one of the most confounding mysteries the city has ever seen. What makes this case so disturbing isn't just Sneha's disappearance. It's when and where it happened. The day before 9/11, just a short walk from the World Trade Center. Initially, her story was drowned by the enormity of the terrorist attacks. Thousands of lives were lost, and chaos ruled the days that followed. But as time passed and the debris cleared, her absence stood out like a shadow cast over ground zero. No one had seen her during the attacks. She wasn't at her apartment. Her name wasn't on the official list of victims. She simply vanished. What happened to Sneha Philip? Sneha lived in a small apartment on the 24th floor of a building in Battery Park City with her husband, Ron Lieberman, a fellow doctor. They were newly married, living in one of the most vibrant cities in the world, with promising careers ahead. But behind closed doors, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. Sneha had been recently suspended from the hospital where she worked, Staten Island University Hospital, over what was said to be issues with her attendance. But the situation was murky. Sneha reportedly told her family that she had been the victim of sexual harassment at work and believed her suspension was retaliatory. No charges were filed, and no clear evidence surfaced. But this tension seemed to weigh heavily on her, and her behavior reportedly grew more erratic in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. On September 10th, security footage shows Sneha shopping at a department store, Century 21, located right across from the World Trade Center. She purchased lingerie, clothes, and some household items, spending a few leisurely hours browsing. That was the last confirmed sighting of her. She never came home that night. Ron returned to their apartment late on the night of the 10th, assuming Sneha was staying with family or needed space after a minor argument earlier that morning. When he woke up on the 11th, he heard the first plane hit the North Tower. Like millions of other New Yorkers, he stared in disbelief as the second tower was struck. Then they fell. In the madness that followed, he tried to call Sneha, but there was no answer. Cell service was down, streets were blocked, panic was universal. Ron assumed that maybe she had gone to the World Trade Center area to shop again or meet a friend. After all, she had spent the previous day right there. But days passed. Weeks. No word, no body, no sightings, nothing. At first, her disappearance was treated like one of the many tragedies of 9/11. Ron insisted she had likely died while trying to help victims. She was a doctor. Her instinct would have been to save lives, he argued. Maybe she had rushed to the towers when the first plane hit. Maybe she had entered the buildings before the collapse. With no remains ever found and her proximity to the site, it seemed plausible. But soon, the NYPD began to cast doubt on that theory. They discovered inconsistencies. They would died no one saw her near Ground Zero that morning. Her name wasn't on any emergency responder lists. And the last confirmed footage of her was from September 10th, not the 11th. Even stranger, her shopping bags from Century 21 were never found in the apartment. Did she even make it home that night? Or did something else happen? Something that had nothing to do with 9/11? The NYPD began investigating other angles. They learned that Sneha was reportedly struggling with alcohol and had been frequenting bars in the area. There were also rumors, never fully substantiated, that she had explored New York's underground nightlife and sometimes stayed out overnight, possibly with new acquaintances. Ron and her family pushed back hard. They accused investigators of victim blaming, arguing that the police were trying to close the case quickly by painting her as irresponsible. Her brother even admitted in court that he had lied initially about seeing her on the morning of 9/11, hoping it would bolster the case that she was a 9/11 victim. The case grew more confusing. Was she a victim of the terrorist attack? Or did she disappear due to foul play, or by choice? Then came another twist. Investigators reviewed Sneha's internet activity. On the morning of September 10th, she had searched for items like vacation spots and cheap flights. Some interpreted this as a sign she planned to leave town, or even run away. But others argued it was innocuous. Who doesn't casually look up travel options? Then there were her purchases from Century 21. Normal items, but also a bit unusual for someone who might be planning to vanish or harm themselves. Why buy lingerie and home goods if you don't plan to return home? And yet, she never did. One theory was that Sneha went home on the night of the 10th, got up early on the 11th, and rushed to the towers to help. Another theory was that she never made it home, got into trouble while out, and something happened to her before the towers fell. Still another theory suggests she used the chaos of 9/11 to disappear deliberately. But why? She was a doctor, newly married, and loved by her family. And yet every clue about her life in the days leading up to her disappearance paints a picture of someone under immense pressure. Suspended from her job, strained marriage, legal threats, psychological strain. A city on edge. In 2004, a judge ruled that Sneha was not a 9/11 victim and removed her name from the official list. Her family was devastated. Ron fought the decision in court for years. Eventually, in 2008, a higher court reversed the ruling. Based on circumstantial evidence and proximity to the towers, the court reclassified her as one of the victims of the terrorist attacks. But not everyone agreed. To this day, there is no direct evidence that Sneha was in or near the towers on the morning of 9/11. No witnesses, no physical evidence, no remains, nothing. She was never seen again after that afternoon shopping trip. What makes this case so haunting is that it lives in the shadow of America's greatest tragedy. Any other day, any other week, and her disappearance might have received national attention. But on that day, her story was swallowed whole. And yet, it continues to whisper from the rubble. Because nothing adds up. Did Sneha die a hero, racing into danger to save lives? Or was she a victim of something darker? Something unrelated to 9/11, but cleverly hidden behind its chaos? Could someone have harmed her, knowing the investigation would be buried under layers of national trauma? Or did she walk away? Why would someone vanish in the heart of one of the most recorded, watched, and witnessed events in human history, yet leave behind no trace? It's this question that keeps the mystery of Sneha and Philip alive more than 2 decades later. Her family continues to search for answers. Her husband insists she died helping others. Investigators still scratch their heads. And the rest of us? We're left wondering what really happened in the hours before the world changed forever.